Parks, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, Coretta Scott King, Alex Haley, The Roots. Those are clients of mine that I've used graphics, designs in terms of resurrecting as well as branding strategy. What we're going to expose you to today is show you how you build wealth and empowerment through that process in terms of employment as well as creating wealth. This class is one of the most important classes that you may not recognize at this point in time in your life in terms of thinking and analyzing and putting together concepts. So the first concept is design process, which Mr. Burns will take over, Ed Burns will take over. I'm gonna come along in another process of it, and I will deal with the strategy of how to use it in art empowerment concepts. How do you protect the image as opposed to someone taking your property? Right. And so I do trademarks and copyrights and things of that nature. How to protect your work when someone doesn't take it. And that's something that you all should know, because people will take your work. And it goes along, and I deal with copyright infringements, and I sue people for that. Exactly. I had to do that for even, some of the people didn't understand it when Outkast took Rosa Parks' name.
Oh, that's all. What song did you play?
On this concept. That's my work. I went to the Supreme Court and I had Johnny Cochran work with me as well.
Oh, Johnny Cochran.
Right, Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran that represented OJ. Right. Johnny Cochran, I became his lawyer, and that's why his name on law firms across the country. And so everything that we're going to deal with is the real world in terms of protecting your work, how to think it through, and how to use brand strategy to empower yourself, because art deals with thinking, analyzing concepts and strategy, and you have to know how to think in order to be able to protect yourself when you leave out of this school. So we're going to let Ed Burns, the real time, take over in terms of his concept. We are here in terms of another part of it is a process in which there's a movie that's coming out and a theatrical production. And some students in here will be a part of that movie as well as the theatrical production. I'm the executive producer. I have produced and represented 4 Broadway plays as well. So my area of specialty has gone into other area, although I started off in law, but I really started off as an engineer. Your mind is capable of doing anything that you want to do in life. So I was in engineering. Then I got a master's in management science. Then I got a law degree. Then I got another law degree in taxation. And so that's my background. Ed, and then we go through the concepts of protecting and things of that nature for you. Thank you for your time and your attention. The production is called Wise Tales of Motown, that we want to have a logo design by the students in here, and you're competing with 4 other schools. And the jury department, the teacher, Miss Mitchell, I believe is her name, she's working on the jury concept of design for that class. Ed, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I just want to briefly first tell you about me, how I started my business. Back in 2003, things was a little different. We didn't have the technology that you guys have today. I started off with studio. I wanted to be a studio engineer. So during that process, we started to realize that a lot of artists needed visuals. What I mean by that is they wanted videos. So my brother and I, we came together and we said, let's invest in camera equipment and editing equipment. Never went to school for it, anything. I just had a passion for it. So what we did, we invested in ourselves. We bought cameras, we bought editing equipment, and we began a business. But we didn't realize that we had to do other things to actually be in business. And what I mean by that is we had to register a business. And then what I found out was after we registered the business, we had to represent our business. So we had to come up with a concept, something that would show who we are. And that's what I want to talk about today. A logo and what the importance of a logo is. So, when you talk about a logo is something that represents you, your company, brand, product. I know everybody here knows the Jordan brand. You see that logo, you don't even have to mention Jordan's name, but if you see that Jumpman logo, you know it's Jordan's. That's very important. See, before you even can get a business card, letterhead, or anything, you must have a logo. That logo represents, again, you, your business, what you represent. So, first impressions are everything. I know you guys have heard that before. When you go meet someone, you want to make that first impression. That's what a logo do for you and your business. When you hand it over to someone, you're trying to get them money to finance your business, when they see your logo, that's what's going to represent you, not your name personally or anything. It's your business. Now, the uniqueness of a logo. Bless you. The uniqueness of a logo. What makes a logo unique is the coloring. It's the symbol, if you use a symbol, it's the symbol that you use. It's the details. And I'm gonna say that again. The details. When you do a logo, what separates you from you, from you, from you, is your details of that logo. So, the process of coming up with a logo, you have to think. It's a deep thinking process. You have to think, how do I want to be represented? What do I want that I can put out in front of me before I even open my mouth? What do I want people to think of my company? So you're thinking of, again, colors, symbols, and you are going to get anything from your title. So say if your business, like my business, Real Time, it's spelled a different way. My business is spelled REELTYME. It's done on purpose. Real represents the old movie reel. Time is, we wanted to just play with the word time, but that's why it's spelled TYME. So it all comes together, real time. That means movie time. So when I go out, people already know that I have something to do with video, movie, or something along those lines. Now, branding. When you're talking about branding, have anybody seen an old Western? Have you seen an old Western? In the old Western days, they used to have these cattle brand, exactly. They would put it in the fire, and they would stick the fire, the image onto the cow, and that way everyone knew who that cow belonged to. It's the same concept today. The only thing today, when we say branding, if I want to brand my business, I want to burn my symbol, my image into the heads of everyone. I want to actually, before they even see my company name, if they see the symbol of my company, I want them to know who I am. So I'm actually burning an image into their head, into their minds. That's why it's so important to have a thought process behind all this stuff. You have to think about all this before you even get started. Another important thing is research. Now, how would this benefit you guys? you guys are in the perfect position. I know everyone knows YouTube, right? You can actually go buy you a camera, buy you some graphic equipment, which you guys are already exposed to. Other than just printing, which is a beautiful thing, this is something that you can actually put your hands on. I just toured the room back there. On the screen printing, you can start your own t-shirt businesses. You can start your own mug businesses. You can actually start your own video production and graphic production. Invest in yourself, learn the software, learn what you're doing. You have a whole platform that I didn't have coming up. YouTube is a beautiful thing. You can go find the people in your school that love to perform. You video them. You come up with a concept with them to brand them. Start off with a logo. Create their logo. You brand them, you video them, you put it on YouTube, and you guys are basically in business. So I think you guys are in the perfect position. Mr. Brown he has something great going here because he's teaching you guys something that you can actually stand on your own. You can make a lot of money. You don't have to work for anybody. You can work for yourself. You can be an entrepreneur just through this. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. I hope I touched someone, and I hope to see you guys in the future working on your own stuff, creating, be very creative, and we'll start with this project here, Wives' Tales of Motown. Thank you so much.
What Mr. Burns was talking about, I'm going to give you insight on each one of your questions. I'm going to give you insight on how you can really make a living, how you create wealth. I'm going to give you, number one, what I do, I don't do any graphics. I think, and I give people such as yourself or Mr. Burns how to put it together for me. I have no ability in terms of that area, but I'm a thinker. I'm a strategist. Long time ago, there was a person, her value was so low that this community had forgotten her. Her name was Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks came to my office and asked me to represent her. At that time, not one person would spend $5 on her autograph. Yes. So I prayed for 3 years to represent her, and she walked into my office. That's how Ms. Parks came to me. Because I recognized that my people did not understand what they had in the midst of them and how to take care of her. So what happened? I put together a plan how to resurrect her image and her legacy. I rebranded her. I have done this for Aretha Franklin, Anita Baker, Kid Rock as well. Those people come to me unsolicited. I learned how to brand and market, but I need people like you in order to do that type of work. That's how important you are. This is a checklist that I did for Aretha Franklin. I take this right here, and so I did a similar checklist for Mrs. Parks, and I'm going to show you what I have done through using people such as yourself in order to create wealth and how to use these images so it won't be someone talking. So what I did when Ms. Parks came to me, then when she came to me, she just said, I want Gregory Reed to be my attorney. And what happened, I said, now that you pray for something, just like when you pray for something, you want something, when you get it, what are you going to do with it? That's what I asked myself. You ask for something, now what you going to do when you get it? Just like say, I want to, as some young people say, I want to be out there. What you going to do with it? Are you going to help others with it? Are you going to be able to use it wisely as well? So when she came, so I made out a list. It took me 4 months. I went back and thought about it. It took me 4 months. She came back and I made a list. I said, I'm gonna resurrect who she was in order for you young people to understand who she was. It wasn't for her. I was doing it for you all. Because we need heroes. That's why I did it. We need to understand value in terms of respecting a person who's made a contribution, period. And so during that time, what happened, I put down books, I put down figurines, I put down movies, I put down theatrical production, I put down recordings, I put down a list of 27 items, and we accomplished 26 of them in terms of resurrecting who she was. So what happened when she was, sadly to say, was attacked in her home, that list became energized. And so during that time, then a publisher contact asked me to do a book. I'm an author of 16 books. I'm the only lawyer that has got multiple Image Awards in this country. For writing. And writing was my worst subject. Everything that I disliked, I applied myself. I do not run from it. So this book right here came out, was called Quiet Strength. Now that's a brand, Quiet Strength. I researched and I kept seeing this word, Quiet Strength, a person of courage, person of courage. Then I used that in order to brand Mrs. Parks. That word itself is a brand, just a title. Then this same little book got her the Presidential Award. It brought us to the White House because she needed a product, something different than always saying her story. People all over thought that she had died, and this was right here was bringing her back. This book right here also gave her the Congressional Medal. This little book, 2 things is accomplished. Here's a copy of the Congressional Medal. They put that word, Quiet Strength, on the Congressional Medal. This word was the brand, putting it in the image of the minds of the person. You need an artist, you need someone thinking how to lay that out. So that became part of who she was. That started to create value and wealth. Then I recognized it was taking place. Then I saw a gentleman paid $5,000 for her signature, just for signing something. So her value started to increase. You need an artist, you use graphics. That became so important. Next thing I know, for using strategy to keep branding and putting her out there, did Nelson Mandela. They sent me over to Africa. This came out, Dear Mrs. Parks, Dear Mr. Mandela. Then I'm up here working with Nelson Mandela. That became part of the process of resurrecting. That's how I got to Nelson Mandela, Michigan State University. And frankly, we launched that project here at Cass Tech High School, Global Lessons. That's before you all were here, in the auditorium upstairs. All that deals with an artist thinking, putting together concept. I'm just a thinker, researcher, using other people in order to create wealth. So that right there started to create business and employment for other people around her. See? Idea can create wealth as well as money in order to take care of yourself, and took care of Mrs. Parks. That's the other process. Then you're going to look at copyrights. Copyright means to protect certain images. And you say, well, how do you do that? It only costs $35 to get something registered. If you go to someone else to do that, you have to pay $200 or $300. You register it online. That was your question. You go to copyright, and then you actually pull up that information, registration of that. You have to have your name, your year of birth, the year that when that was first actually created or used. That is important. What does that do? See, if someone takes your work, I'm gonna simplify it. What is a copyright? Does anyone know what a copyright is?
It protects your art or your image from being used.
Okay, it does, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna simplify it. When the police pull you over, what do they ask for if you drive in the car?
The license and registration.
There you go. Registration. So the copyright is nothing but a registration. Now, see how simplified it is? That's all it is. It's just like if someone say, well, whose artwork is that? What you're doing, if you don't have a registration, you just arguing with someone. Do you get it? So it's just as simple as a car registration. That right there shows who created, when they own it, and then they get a copyright number, just like you have a registration of it, is the registration of the car VIN number, who owns that car. That's simple. Now, what happens, you got a whole lot of work. I'm gonna give you a little trick. If you got a whole lot of work, and you say, well, I gotta pay $35 for each one. No, you put that under one name. Put that under one name in terms of, you can call it Brown's Collection Series. Pay for $35 and you could do $200 or $300.
That's sweet.
I just gave you one of the tricks. People don't tell you that. They charge you $35 for each one of those, plus their service. Now, from the branding process, I'm going to show you the image. This is your work. This is how you work. This is the other book I got the image award for. You see this little, this right here? What's that, like a postal stamp?
Yes.
That work itself, that design, this was based on letters that were written out all over the country. I made this into a book called Dear Mrs. Parks. That design drew the attention of the NAACP Image Award Committee. That right there, and gave us the Image Award for the content of the letter, but this artwork drew them to this process. Now watch, I'm going to show you how powerful this little piece is. Then what happened, if you notice earlier, it was Dear Mrs. Parks and Dear Mr. Mandela. That same process sent me to Africa. And it became that image over there as well. And that was Nelson Mandela's personal escort on his 90th birthday and his wedding anniversary. I was. That little process. Now I'm going to show you something else. This little image became for President Obama. That won an Image Award. Same little logo, image. Then I get personal commendation from Michelle Obama and President Obama of my work, of his work. These are private letters. I'm the only person, it's not about me, I'm just showing you how to think. I have to use, I'm just an example, I'm just a vessel. So it's not ego tripping. I'm showing you the process. These letters I'm the only person that got private letters of the President Obama because I had him to direct it. Your school participated. I got letters, 5,000 letters in two weeks that were sent to my office in order to construct this project. Just like the design Wise Tale that I got you all, I got letters like that, 5,000. Those letters are going to be donated to the Presidential Library when this library is built as well. So this concept right here gave an image award as well. I'm showing you how art and the power of art, because the power of art can also take you in a negative direction when it's not about you. And showing you the power of it. So these are concepts in terms of using strategy and branding. So first you got to start off with where Mr. Burns is talking. Then you got to have the thinking and the strategy. See, branding is a strategy. Now, when you say strategy, see, just because you come up with an idea, then you got to know how to use that idea. Other than that, it's just a piece of artwork. Then you got to think about how to get into the minds of others. Now, I've had two beautiful daughters that started at CAS. One finished CAS, and the other one, for some reason, she said she wanted her own identity. She went over to Renaissance. And so what's happened, my daughter, Arian, she's been on Oprah twice. She started here, so she knows she's smarter than branding and strategy than I am now. No, I don't compete with her, and never have. But she knows the techniques by just being exposed. I never told both of my daughters, I never told them what to do, what to major in. You expose them, and you just let them see how to make good choices. The youngest one, Ashley, her logo is, both of them got the same initials, ASR. Ashley was the entrepreneur in America by Business Week magazine at 21. She used ASR collection. Young people, you all on Instagram and all that, I know, so if you want to look them up. Arian Simone, that's her brand. She just brand herself, Arian Simone, and the other young one is ASR Collections. How important that is. Now you take these concepts, then you'd have to protect them. Mrs. Parks is one of the greatest examples that I've had because I've used that process, and then and other countries have even taken over. That's why even her brand, which is my work, because I wrote the books for her. This is Japan. This is over in Japan. Now you see the same concept. You notice that this concept is the same concept in America. This is Quiet Strength. You see the same logo, the image. You see that brand is consistent. So this is over in Japan as well as China, and it became the #1 bestseller over there. I'm showing you the power of art and how you could be empowered by that. That's why I brought this contest over, is in order to pass it on to another generation. That's the main purpose that I'm here. And that's the reason why I said, I could come up with Wise Tale, but can I have some young person to do it and to be part of a movie, a theatrical? You say, well, and the gentleman said, well, what is that about? Wise Tale of Motown. That is the untold story of the women that were married or associated with Motown. The story's never been told. You hear about the other entertainers and the groups, Diana Ross and all of them, but who are the women that connected? This is Women's Month. I'm an advocate of women. And their story leads to another presentation of a story that can create an economy. off of Wise Tales of Motown. And so then I wanted you all to come up with concepts similar to that, the logo. There's been other projects that I have done in using strategy of the same way. Malcolm X, Google Lost Chapters. I made the largest acquisition in the 20th century of his manuscript, writings, as well, when I preserve it. I consider myself as a cultural preservationist now. And so I brand this word, Lost Chapters, to give it value, because the net was just a piece of papers. See? The Lost Chapters. I kept using this, that word. Now everybody in America, they said, well, what about those lost chapters now? They were unknown. I had to give it value. And so just the fonts and the name itself can give something value. That is the importance of the work that you are being exposed to in this class. In terms of how do you create wealth? Wealth is by your thinking, by your thoughts. It's not the physical objects, because those physical objects came from your mind anyway. It starts all up here. Any questions that you have? But I hope that I expose you, because I've done this concept over and over. We launched the first car cruise. Everybody heard about the Dream Cruise. Detroit has its own cruise. And I started that. That was called Cruising in the D. I brand this into people's mind. And now it's going into the 6th year. From one thing to a thought, just like a t-shirt. Then we have wristbands, caps, and things of that nature. And now the whole police department got behind it. But it's showing you how you can take a thought and give birth to something. Because your mind is the fertile soil that actually where all the creation starts. It starts in your mind. Thank you for your time, but I hope that you participate and come up with a concept so one of you all could be associated with Wise Tales of Motown as well.